Hello and welcome to my video blog. Today we want to have a look for the Pascal Project Manager and Editor in version 5.0. At first we have a short overview over all program parts, and starting here with the Pascal Project Manager. Then we go on with the overview and have a look at the Pascal Editor. And at least we're going to the welcome plugin for Delphi. Okay, let's summarize. Now we make the overview, and in the next video we will have a concreter look to the Pascal Project Manager, and after that we look in also to the editor in detail, and at least the welcome page in detail. Okay, then let's start with the Pascal Project Manager. Go to my web page hastasoft.de and here scroll down to Pascal Project Manager and Editor. You have here a description. It's only in German, but you can very easy with a right click let it translate to English, and nowadays this works also very perfectly that I have no need to create an extra English page. So scroll down to the end of the page. You have a lot of information there and some screenshots. And here's the download. Click download, start download program. And after download, click at the setup program and go this dialog through. You can select also here German or English and install it. I have it already installed here, and start the program. And also here direct for information, if you want to change the language, you can do it under extras, settings or options, and here you can select German or English. And you can also select if your Delphi IDE is in English, then you should also check this check mark. So remember, we are here in the short overview, and so I only want to explain what one can do with this program. You can collect all your projects and the information and collect it all here in this program together. You can collect all relevant data, for example, the project path, the name of the project, and the type. Is it an application? Which framework is used? With which Delphi version it is edited? And for which platform the program is available, and so on. And there are more information here, so the date, who is the main developer, and on which PC, and so on. The next tab, the policies. Here you can create some rules and guidelines that are valid for your program development. In the section documents you can collect important data, for example the manuals for your components and something like this. In the Internetlinks you can have your often used links for development. With a checklist you can create some checklists that you use, for example if you release a new main version or release a subversion, and you can create several checkpoints that you can then handle. And you can also here manage all your components. You can collect the manufacturer, the component name, short info, when you bought the last update, how long is it valid, and you can also here collect some information in which project the components are used. For example, here I have an entry and also the license data, the bill, and so on. And in apps and resources it's similar, but it's not components, but you can have here, for example, some application or resources like icons. And then there's also a tips and tricks section where you can add your own tips for development. Then we have the IDE-Manager, where you can manage your IDEs, your styles. You can copy things very easily from the inner paths, from the Delphi program paths. And you have a lot of information of the last use projects, the favorites, and very fast access to all the demos. And at least we have the Delphi Database, where we have a list of main important information. For example, when was this version issued, which project version is it, or compiler version, or BDS version, and so on. And for also the different IDE, VCL, FMX, or RTL, or compiler toolchains aspects, you have a short entry. So you can, for example, if you want to know when was the control list issued, you can find it here. New components, it was issued in Delphi Sydney 10.42. Yeah, that was a short overview for the Pascal Project Manager. Before we hand over to the editor, one short word to the Kanban view. This is a very interesting working method. You can here add your things that you have to do, and you can see in which progress state it is, if it's in review or done. And all these things you can add here in the details of the project. Here you have the feature list, the bug list, the to-do, and you can add them from here to the backlog, but you can also create directly here an item and can select what type it is, feature, bug fix, or to-do. But now let's hand over to the editor. So when you are in the manager, you can make a right click here, and then you can decide what you want to do with this project. Open it in the Delphi IDE, or in this case we open it in the Pascal Editor. The Pascal Editor load in this case the whole project. You can also with Control F12 have a list of used unit in this project. So for example, you can then select the About unit, and with F12 you change to the form view. The program can show all in Delphi included components, but not third-party components. Then there will a blank frame, but you have nevertheless access to a lot of these properties, perhaps. If you click here on one component, for example this OK button, or there is no event, but we click here on the info register, what are the register, and then you can choose on the left side the events that are set, and with a double click you are then in the code and can look and edit or whatever. And you can also have a look in the text of the form, and you can edit here some text if needed. And that's insofar important that in some cases Delphi won't show this here, and then you can even then edit it here. Yeah, on the right side you have the in the project included units here, and also other units that are in the folder. I use this program very often if I want to copy and paste some information from another program and will reuse it in the current edited program. For example, I could here select this panel and click and then set here copy objects to clipboard. And then I go to Delphi and can paste this into this form and can reuse it, and that's very easy. And some person said, okay, I can start a second instance of Delphi, but just have a look. Does it mean for memory? We have load here the same project, and that has 430 MB memory, and you have to add also the LSP with some 100 or so, and the editor uses only 42 megabytes. So that's a big difference, I thought. And in much cases, the editor loads the project much more faster, and that's also an advantage. Very helpful is also the extract text functionality. So I can here extract all the caption text from all components and let it translate from Google. And it's very optimal if you, for example, if you have German text in your dialogues and use English variables names, then it's a perfect translation because the variable stays and only the German texts are translated to English. So let's have a concrete example. I copy all this text to the clipboard, and in the Google Translator I let it translate and copy it then back to the clipboard and insert it in my program here as demo only in the notepad, but you can see the variables names are stayed and I have the translation in English, for example, and can directly reuse it in my program, and the dialog is then in the English language. As I mentioned, when we have some components that's unknown, then they are listed here, but nevertheless, in the most cases, we can display the form. And I want to show you also if we have here some variables or so that I want to search for, then I can simply with Control click, let's search the declaration of the variable, and we can also jump back and forth like you know it in Delphi, and we can also jump to functions, so you can very easily navigate in your forms and your source code, and you can create also a documentation for your project. You can edit and add some information here. We come back to it when we go into the details. Just only a short view how it looks when the documentation is created. It's created as a HTML file, and you can jump to the different units and look what there are in it as different information. You have also the dialogues, the forms, and that for the last thing gets here to the editor. If we want to search a unit and we have have also creation with pictures, the images of the form images, then we can look also here to these forms if we don't know the name. So that's very helpful to find then the right form that we want to work with. And very helpful is also if you have image list in it. Click in the image list here on the form as a right click. You can extract here images that you can reuse for other programs. What at the moment is not supported are image collections and virtual image list, but I think that will be added in one of the next versions of the program. Yeah, that should it be for the moment. There's much more in this program, but I come later in the video that is especially only for this editor program. Now let's hand over to the welcome plugin. So from the former version of the Pascal Project Manager, the version 4, I've created a mini version for the welcome plugin beginning from Delphi 11.1, and you find in the installation folder of the Pascal Project Manager the BPL file. So then you start Delphi and select install packages. Here you can select add and then go to the right directory. In this case it is my development directory. Here select vpppm.vpl, and this is added to the list. And now you can edit the layout, add this Pascal Project Manager entry to this free area and save it. And the program will now start here with connected exe file. And I have already before added some projects here. You can add projects here simply via drag and drop. So you drag an DPR or D project file to here, or you can select here one node and set add entry, and then you have all these entries here, and with a simply double click, for example, then you can start these programs. You can move these entries to subfolders, or how you want to organize it, and it reduces the size if you have a view like this, but you can nevertheless work then with it. And you can also import here files if you have perhaps worked before with a not so far further developed wuppdi tool. You can then here in this menu and set Projekte von wuppdi importieren, and then you can here choose the right file. I can do it, for example. We can add it here. You go to the, here I have here an entry for the wuppdi, and select this file, and you see these programs that were in the wuppdi are then introduced here, and I can use it further. Yeah, that's also a short overview for this plugin. I use it daily, and it's very helpful because it's well organized, and you have also access to the last used projects. So if you have open other projects or so, and you have also fast access to the demos, that's also very helpful. And just one word: if you ever have problems with a welcome plugin, then you can kill this task here, this ppm plugin.exe, and restart Delphi, and the problems should be resolved. So that's all for today. As I mentioned before, there will be more videos following with very detailed information about the manager, the editor, and also some more information about this welcome plugin. And remember, the tool is free. It's a community edition. There are only some smaller difference between the community edition and the commercial version. You can read it from my homepage. I hope this is helpful for you and have fun. And don't forget to subscribe. In this case, I would suggest, to my channel so that you don't miss the next videos. So that was all for today, and bye bye.